Well, it's great to see everyone. Glad you could join us today for another installment of our Native Veterans Resilience and Wellness Skills. Um, my name is Steve Steiny. I'm one of the managers here at the American Indian Alaska Native Addiction Technology Transfer Center, broadcasting to you um, live from the University of Iowa here in Iowa City. That's where our office is located with the College of Public Health and um, in the Behavioral Health Department. Uh, I also have on the call Ella Driscoll from our center. She'll be assisting with any technical issues and also will be assisting me in monitoring the chat box for any comments or assistance that anyone needs. It's great to see some familiar faces and some familiar names. I want to again just thank everyone for joining us today. Just have a couple of things to go over before I turn the floor over to our special guest speaker today, and then I will also have Ray say a few words before we get started as well. Ray Daw is also here along with David Natsaway. Sean Bear, I'm hoping he will join us. Ella, I didn't see him in the waiting room, but if you happen to see him, I think everyone should be able to come in into the room now since we've started the meeting. So hopefully Sean's schedule will allow him to join us. He is our co-director here at the HTC National Center. So with that, I'll just go through a few slides here, just some orders of business, and then we'll get started today. Again, great to see everyone. Okay, thanks, Ella. Yeah, the waiting room's disabled, so anyone joining late should be able to come right in. So again, I want to welcome you to the Native Veterans Resilience Wellness Skills Series. Today, we have a special guest speaker who will be sharing some of his success stories and then opening the floor up to extend an opportunity for others to share. But today's title is Success Stories, Positive Reflections, Personal and Professional. This will be our last broadcast of 2020, and we will be taking a short break from our broadcasts. So we won't reconvene again until I thought it was, Ray, did we say the 15th? Look at my calendar here. I think it's the 15th of January. Yes, that will be our next broadcast, January 15th. So we'll send out a reminder and invite everyone in to join us at that time. So I just wanted to again remind everyone that this training series is brought to you by the National American Indian Alaska Native Addiction Technology Transfer Center. We are part of the HTC network, which also includes 10 regional centers, a network coordinating office, and the National Hispanic and Latino HTC. Again, I would say and wish to remind everyone that that this project is supported by SAMHSA, the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. The content is developed by the presenters, and the opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect the views or policies of SAMHSA. SAMHSA Health and Human Services, or the HDC, the National HDC here. Also, we just want to mention before we get started, we want to acknowledge that the current political climate, in conjunction with a lot of the stressors that many of us are under related to the pandemic. We know it's a stressful time for many, and we may have those on the call today with differing opinions. We want to just remind everyone, as always, that we want to be respectful of each other. immediately following today's webinar, or not webinar, but meeting and discussion today, you will be contacted by us via email. We'll also provide a short survey link in the chat box. Please take a few minutes to fill this out. Your satisfaction and your feedback is critical to the success and continuation of events like this. So we really value hearing from you. If you can, follow that link and take a couple of minutes. It's just 2 or 3 minutes of your time, and it'll really help us continue to support or have evidence to support this through our funder. As I said, if you're not able to complete that survey during the event, Ella will reach out to you via email in a couple of days and give you another opportunity to complete that survey. But we appreciate your continued support and participation in those short survey links. As you know, you are muted currently, but feel free to use the chat feature, the hand raise feature, or simply unmute yourself if you'd like to make a comment or have a question during today's broadcast. We'll try and do our best to honor that and involve you in the discussion as much as we can today. So please feel free to unmute and or use the chat box or hand raise feature if you need to make a comment or would like to ask a question. As I mentioned earlier, we have a guest speaker today who has also been a big part of our Native Veterans Resilience and Wellness Skills series. But we're really pleased to have David Natsaway here today as our primary speaker. David's from Arizona. He has a BA in psychology and also an AA in addictions. And I think, Dave, you you have an addictions certification? Are you certified yet? I don't remember if you had taken your exam or not.
And I'm an LSAA, so
Yes,
I must have a supervisor over me.
I got you. That's right. I think you explained that to me. But Dave, yeah, so Dave has worked as a substance abuse counselor, addiction support group facilitator with the Pueblo of Laguna Behavioral Health and Social Services. He is trained in moral recognition therapy, MRT, and MRT trauma, and is a current member of the Laguna Healing to Wellness Court team. David works as a tribal healing to wellness court consultant for the Tribal Law and Policy Institute and the National American Indian Alaskan Native HTC. He is one of our consultants and also an advisor. David served in the U.S. Navy as a musician's mate, retiring in 2011 after 20 years of service, and remains active as a musician. And I have heard his trombone, so it's not a myth, it's real. With his music experience and great appreciation for the therapeutic power of music, he has been a music is healing presenter for the Pueblo Laguna Prevention Program. Dave also enjoys umpiring baseball. Now, I have not seen him in action there, but I've heard many stories. Umpiring baseball for the New Mexico Activities Association, New Mexico Officials Association, and holds a professional certificate of baseball umpiring from the minor league baseball umpire training academy. So, and just lastly, Dave is an enrolled member of the Pueblo Laguna and resides in Albuquerque, New Mexico at this time. Really pleased to have Dave here. I consider him a colleague and a friend. So, Dave, we're happy to have you. Just as a side note, I wanted to just also reference some of the events that we've done this year through this series. And if you're interested in seeing any of these, if you missed any of these events, we've had some wonderful speakers. And of course, Ray Daw has really been the driving force behind making sure that we are reaching out to our Native veterans around the country Well, the link at the bottom of the page would allow you to enter into our ATTC YouTube archive, and you could view any of these recorded events if you wanted to see some events that we've done in the past that you weren't able to see. So it's been just a really interesting, challenging few months, several months, but I really enjoyed working with Dave and Sean and Ray on providing some resources and sharing some experiences with our native veterans and our non-native veterans as well. So with that, I think I'm going to turn the floor over today to Ray to say a few words, and then we'll get our speaker on. So I'm going to pull this screen down and turn the floor over. So thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you for your very good introduction, Steve, and and the way that you've introduced this particular session. Are we recording right now? Okay. But I'm Navajo from New Mexico, and I'm pleased to have new faces and some of you who have been with us for quite a while. But my clans are Tarawing House, my mother's side, and my father's clans are Manigoats. And my paternal grandfathers are Blackstreet people, Sitnachini. And my paternal grandfathers are Bitterwater people, Twitchini. I'm required to introduce my clans in Navajo way. And I'm originally from Hawk, Arizona, which is in southern Navajo. In fact, I was driving back from there just now and parked in so I could join everyone. But we like Steve said, Dave's been right with us from the beginning of these series, and Dave's been really a guiding light for us as we move on developing and working on the different sessions that we have. And it's always a pleasure to have him share his experiences and wisdom. And a lot of us that are veterans, we by luck, good fortune, love from our families and friends, we were able to get through those really difficult times early after we discharge. And we end up being able to make lives that are good, okay, helpful, healing. And we thought this would be a good time for us to get together and talk about how we've come to where we are at this moment, where we're together as veterans or family members of veterans and relatives of veterans, so that we are helping people. So this is our chance to share our good stories, and some of that will have some parts of the stories won't be too good. But I'm gonna ask Steve to stop recording for a few minutes. David asked me to do a blessing, and I will do a song, Navajo, for allowing me to share the song, and my brother David, bless your heart for including me this way. Yeah, thank you.
So we ready, Steve?
We are. The floor is yours.
All right.
Yeah.
So, Kwati, say hopa. Hello, everybody. My name is Dave Natsway. I grew up in Winslow, Arizona, but my family were from the Pueblo of Laguna. My Christian name being David, my name that was given to me when I was born is Guesiwa, which is the motion that the parrot has. The parrot wings when parrot starts to take flight. That describes that motion. So and my clans, my big clan, my mom from my mother's side is a parrot clan, and my small clan from my father is a bear clan. Uh, so today, I think the idea behind today's session, since we've been inundated with everything, all the chaos of this year, um, with the COVID and the political climate and everything, a lot of tension, um, and the behavioral health issues that have come out of that. I thought that maybe, since this being uh, going to be the uh, last one for the year, that we could share some of the success stories that we've had, just either over our lives, or just over the past year. If you're a provider, either working with clients or personal yourself, being able, as a veteran, being able to overcome adversity, uh, or helping a client overcome, you know, and so, Steve, do you have those the kind of guidelines, that list? So we put together just a small list um, of things that we could kind of go by, and I'll start off. I'll share a few things um, myself, and then open it up, and here's some of the successes that other people have had, you know, over the year, or with their practice, or um, so. And just thinking about the successes that I've had. I grew up um, in not the most ideal situation. There was a lot of substance use in my family, in my background, and um, I witnessed lots of domestic violence. Things that that shouldn't go
What do you
on.
mean when your ears turn red? Huh? What does it mean when your ears turn red?
Yeah. So and seeing things that children shouldn't see. So at the time, being a child, it I didn't realize the impact that it was having on me, or the impact that it was going to have on the way the way I grew up, and the way I I approach things as an adult. And um, living through that, and then graduating from high school, and enrolling in college, going to college to study music at Northern Arizona University in Flagstaff. Um, that's when these things started to really manifest themselves, and I I had a really hard time focusing on my task at hand, what I was supposed to be doing. You know, as far as the music aspect, that had always been an outlet for me my entire life. Even as what I was experiencing as a kid was going on, that was always a positive outlet for me. And that's kind of what drove me into just pursuing music. And my siblings were also involved in music, and so I had that as a model. My parents, my grandparents, they were also involved in music. So it was just something that felt naturally that I followed along with. Um, but I realized it was a safe haven for me, to be involved in music, and but not being able to recognize and deal with the other issues that were happening. Um, that were sitting in the back of my mind. You know, it. I believe it was one of the things that kind of led me into substance use coping. Substance coping, alcohol and drugs, and so there came a point where I couldn't focus on school, and I just wanted to play music. You know, that's where I felt most comfortable. So I kind of backed off on the classwork, took one class a semester or whatever, you know, but I played in a lot of groups. I was in the Flagstaff Symphony Orchestra, and I was playing in a lot of the bands and the clubs in Flagstaff, and doing all kinds of other things. You know, but the drawdown about being an artist, you know, as many know, is you don't make very much money, you know. So so it just so happened that you know, there's a military background in my family, you know, and I saw that as an option, you know. It kind of it's not something that I set out to do, but it's something that just kind of one day just hit me across the head. I was walking down the hallway in the music building at NAU, and I saw an advertisement for Navy music program. So and I made a phone call, and and the next thing I know, within the year, you know, I was at boot camp. And, you know, as I look back on it, you know, even, you know, that being, it wasn't really one of the goals that I had set out to do for myself, you know, was military, but it's just something that just all of a sudden presented itself to me. And when I entered into the Navy, you know, back then, early, like 90, 91, you know, there's still that heavy climate of tradition, which involves a lot of drinking, you know, so I kind of fit in that respect as well, you know, but I still had all these other things that I was dealing with, and I was using the alcohol to cope. And as my service time went on, when I hit about my 12-year mark, 10-year mark, right around that time, I started to realize that it was something that I had to deal with, you know. And so I tried, didn't succeed, tried again, didn't succeed. Took me about 3 or 4 times before I actually was able to bring myself to the realization that it had such a hold on me that I needed help. I was one of those guys that say, I don't need any help. I can do this by myself, you know. And I had a lot of people, you know, behind me saying, maybe you should try AA, maybe you should try this. And one of the things that I used to say back then was, well, I can do it on my own. AA's for the weak, is what I used to say. And so once I figured out, okay, this is something that I actually need to do. So I went and talked to the substance abuse program, and the drug and alcohol prevention, the Navy side. It's the behavioral health side and the Navy side. You kind of got to go both. They work hand in hand in the military. But they got me into rehab. And I slowly realized in a short, you know, in the time that I was there, I realized that in going to the AA, doing the AA requirement that was presented by the program, I did realize that yes, AA is for the weak, is what I told myself. I said, I am weak. You know, I tried to put up this front that, you know, oh, I can do this, I can handle this, you know, and you know, just found out it's something that it was something I needed to do. And involving, I think what helped too is being able to involve my wife in this. You know, when I was going to my appointment where I was gonna jump in, you know, full force, you know, I asked my wife to join me in these meetings, and the counselors, the drug and alcohol prevention coordinator, he, you know, he said, he told me later on, he goes, I knew this was going to be a success by the way you were approaching it. You were beginning to involve those that were affected by your substance use. and you're making them a part of your recovery. So, back before I studied behavioral health, I didn't realize the full force of that, So, as I look back, now as I look back at that opportunity that presented itself to me joining the military, it makes me think, the creator works in mysterious ways, and to be able to present that to me, and maybe that's the avenue, maybe that's the route I was chosen to take in order to deal with the issues that I had. And once I completed rehab and started working the program and doing my aftercare, and I became more involved with and more focused on my music and the recovery and working with other people. And at that point, that's when I started thinking about, and this was back in 2005. So that's when I started thinking, I wonder if it would be possible to pursue this a lot further and become a counselor back at Laguna, because I know there's an issue there. Just an idea I had, in the back of my mind, and then I retired from the Navy in 2011, December 2011. And along the way, I was able to help out other sailors that were having issues. They were kind of afraid to go into rehab because, there was a time in the military, if you go to rehab, it's considered a punishment, or it was looked at as a punishment. So I was there to stand by and just assure them that it's not a punishment. And when you receive your certificate from rehab, it goes into the awards section of your folder. But, just to kind of help guide some of the younger sailors in that direction, if that's where they felt that they needed to go. So, once I retired and decided, well, I'm going to move closer to home, back closer to Laguna, and decided to move to Albuquerque and pursue the degree in counseling and look towards the working in substance abuse and addiction. I had to start all over again. Started small, started at the Central New Mexico at the community college, and with my lower level transferred into UNM. Lo and behold, I didn't know at the time that UNM was a marker in this field. I didn't know there were so many people that were affiliated with UNM that developed a lot of the programs and a lot of the therapies that are used around the world. And once I realized that, it was it's really cool, to be right here. It was put to me when I got hired out at Laguna. It was put to me that that I ended up in the mecca of behavioral health addiction. Learning was going to UNM. So being able to get do the internship out at Laguna, I saw that coming full circle. This idea I had back in 2005 in my first year of recovery of possibly spreading this and going and ending up back at Laguna was coming around. It was coming. I mean, it was really coming to life, and it was exciting, and I did a year of internship there. And then at the end of my internship, I took the baseball season off so I could umpire for a few months. And then I went to, then I applied. They kept asking me, we have that position open if you want it. And so I applied. And so I worked out there. So I was out there for 3 years working with the veterans, a lot of the veterans that came through there, and the Healing to Wellness Court. That's when I was introduced to Healing to Wellness Court, and saw a big interest. I really enjoy the Healing to Wellness Corp program that they had out there. And when we're looking at the successes, and I'm relatively new, in this field. I've been involved in it for four or so years, but the clients I work with, I just had one client call me or text me 2 days ago just to tell me that they had hit their 3-year sobriety mark, and these are people I don't really hear from, and when I left Laguna, I took their phone numbers with me, and I first off, I let them know that I was leaving I was going to be moving into Albuquerque and leaving the agency, and what I was going to be doing with the ATTC and everything else. And I let them know that, even though I can't work with them as their counselor anymore, I can work with them as a mentor. So I offered that up and cleared that through the agency, that if anybody needs any mentorship, I'm available. So they stay in contact with me. They let me know what's happening, and I thought that was really cool that the particular client that I saw, that I worked with for over 1.5 years in the Healing to Wellness Court, contacts me the other day, letting me know that, that they hit the 3-year mark, and I thought that was cool, and I have some others that stay in contact with me as well. Just let me know how things are going. And once in a while, I'll just ask them. I'll send a text out and ask how everybody's doing, and that's about it. How's it going? And if they respond, they respond. If they don't, that's okay too. But since COVID, I haven't been able to get out there, and poke around or anything, talk to anybody. But it's really, it was really nice to hear from a former client, that they're doing well and working with home health care, taking care of their father. One of the other things too, since I entered this field, is I'm still associated with, I still have a lot of contacts in the Navy, and and since I left, a lot of the guys that I went through with, they're all higher ranked now, and so they're in charge of a lot of things. And I have a really good friend that from Arizona, that's he's the command master chief of the Armed Forces School of Music out in Little Creek, and on a couple of occasions he's called me with looking for information or looking for guidance on how to deal with sailors that are having issues, with alcohol. And we spend a lot of time. He kind of will present the situation. He'll present the case to me and what's going on with the person. And then that way I can guide him through it, because a lot of times when you're dealing with military, the military system and the medical system, behavioral health system, things don't happen very fast. They there's a whole channel, there's a whole hierarchy that you have to go through, the whole chain of command that you have to go through in order to get things rolling. So what he was looking for was guidance on how do I deal with this in-house as this process is going on. So I'm able to provide him a lot of the guidance and what to look out for, how to approach different situations, and if it turns into crisis, how to deal with it. And he's very grateful, and he's let me know that he goes, this information that you give me is incredible. It's invaluable. Like, I wouldn't have known what to do without the information that you give me. And so, it makes me feel good. I'm happy that I'm able to get this information, and I'm happy that I'm able to help, those that are on the on the on both ends of the situation, those that are on the helping end, those that are those that need the guidance, so and I think that, once I was able to get a hold of, my situation, I could better serve, others. I could be a better parent, um, I know I've had lots of conversations with my son, which is a lot different than with me and my dad. We didn't talk that much, and I always was nervous around him, but me and my son, we're able to talk about a lot of different things. He feels very comfortable about coming to me with problems and situations. I'm outside. It's an airplane going over this. So, yeah. So, and one of the things that he tells me, and I know, is that he never saw me as a substance user, like I saw my dad as a substance user, and that makes me feel good that he's never had to experience that, and it's breaking that cycle, um, and he tells me, he goes, I can't even imagine what that would be like, what you would be like. I can't even imagine you like that, and as it's like, well, it wasn't good, um, but I noticed the confidence that he has. He's pursuing music as well. All my kids have been involved in music, and the confidence that they have is amazing. I didn't have that confidence when I was their age, when I was growing up, but I don't think that would be possible if I continued on the road that I was. I don't even think I would be alive today if I would have continued on the road. At one point when I was at an AA meeting, it was on my 40th birthday, and I told, I mentioned that it was my birthday, and I didn't think that I would have been alive at 40, that I was grateful to be there. And, one of the old timers comes up to me and just kind of smiles and says, man, you're young, because, he was an older veteran, and, working on 40 years of recovery or whatever, but it was guys like that. It's like, man, I want to be like you, so, so if anybody else has anything, I went a little longer than I meant to, but if anybody else wants to jump in and has any success stories that they want to share, that would be really cool.
Or we could have some folks who want to give feedback or impressions of the really great, touching story you shared, Dave. That'd be really, really nice. We have an open mic now.
Yes, Mohammed. I think Mohammed has a question or comment.
Yeah, it's actually a compliment, and a really a great support, not only to Dave, our speaker, but to his parent, to his dad. Just day before yesterday, I was talking to my sister. My daughter, I moved her from Philadelphia to Alaska. You can see the difference between urban city and an isolated Alaska. She got frustrated and she wanted to set me up. So she make up a game and have call the police and get me arrested. just because she wanted to get out of Alaska. So I spent a night in jail and I came back in the morning. I have a restraining order. I can't see her for 3 months. And after the 3 months, she called me. I asked how she doing, and the restraining order was canceled. And she said she wanted to see me, but she's afraid. I said, no, don't be afraid. What you did was okay. I mean, it's now okay in the sense of harming somebody, but you just was trying to survive. So don't worry about it. We'll be fine. My entire surrounding was shocked. It was like, are you okay with that? I said, no, I'm not okay with the action, but she's my daughter. I took her away from her friends in Philadelphia to bring her in Alaska where she cannot go shopping. She can't go to nail salons. It's cold all the time. And you want her to be okay? No, whatever she did, we all do. It's a survival. So, and I give her everything that was taken away from her, and she still doesn't believe it. She's like, Dad, you make me scared. I was expecting anger, and I said, honey, I grew up where I got beat up every single day for things I didn't even do. I want to be the opposite of that environment. What I hear from our speaker today is that sense of change and that sense of support from the people you need most. No one is okay with someone using substances, but for your parent to be there for you, I think it is amazing. And I wanted to thank you for sharing it. I felt myself into your story, and thank you for making it known.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I have a question, but I will ask later.
You can ask Mohammed. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. Moving forward, do you think there are additional patience or strategic support you'll be able to provide to your children? Meaning, can you do better than your father did? Can you do better than your parent did? Because that's something we all strive to do. You want to be more educated, you want to have a better house, we upgrade our phones. What type of upgrading system are you planning to incorporate in what you're sharing right now?
I think just the fact that um, mainly that I'm able to have a conversation on morality, what's right, what's wrong, being able to identify. Um, and I'm not at all saying that we can't learn, you know, from the negative, like the way the parent was or society is. You know, I think we learn from everything, you know, either good or bad. And so one of the things is letting them know that it's okay to ask. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to ask questions. You know, um, it's okay to be involved. You know, all these things that I was afraid of. You know, that growing up, um, just the basics of being able to behave in society. You know, being respectful. You know, and these are things that, as a Laguna Pueblo, you know, these are the things that we were taught. You know, when we're little, you know, and we're taught all throughout our lives, you know, where the confusion comes is when the adult authority figures don't act like that, you know, and then the children feel that they can follow that same behavior, you know, even though it's still preached to look out for one another, take care of one another. Um, it's just something that we'll have to, work on, you know, working out at the Pueblo of Laguna. I know these things, but then I see other behaviors. And then from the folks that are not following these things, they still will talk about take care of one another, And so those can turn into long conversations, you know. We have to find the root of why, they think that's okay, So, um, yeah, I always talk to my kids, man, don't put yourself in a situation where um, you're having to backtrack yourself, you know, because of your behavior, you know. So I don't know. Does that answer your question?
I have a specific example. Few days ago, I forgot, I didn't introduce properly myself. I am Mohammed Sisse's suicide prevention program manager at Fairbanks Native Association. Few days ago, we had a conversation with a middle school student, and I had requested a speaker from Alaska Native Elders Association. And I suggested that we don't do a lecture because these are students on Zoom. They have to deal with lecture from teachers all day. So I suggested if we can do it in a conversational way. So she just introduced herself, and then we picked up the suicide prevention and plugged it into how she grew up, what was different back then that causes so many to be desperate. How can we do it different? That's how I approach the subject. And one specific example that had come out was the use of certain vocabulary. For instance, she says when she was growing up, the word "I love you" didn't exist, but that doesn't mean your parent didn't love you. However, our kids nowadays, from school, diversity around, TV, phone, they all hear the word "I love you," become like a second nature to them. So the more we use that word, the better they feel. Do you think there are these type of changes in thought? And the other example she provided is like hugging was not part of where she grew up. But nowadays, we know how a simple touch on the shoulder can encourage someone. These are the elements I'm looking forward to, because my break point with my daughter to make her feel like a don't worry was a hug. When I hug her, I felt emotional because I lost her mom when she was 4 years old. And I told her, I said, honey, there is nothing you can do to hurt me more than the loss of your mom. I just wanted you to grow up safely. Don't worry, we'll be fine. Are there mechanisms from talk, action, or reactions that can make what you're saying right now more achievable in the family environment? I'm not sure if I'm asking too specific, but I think from the speech from that elder from the Alaska Native Association here, that's what I learned. It was really technical. You can see that. It's kind of like you can plug it as a 2 plus 2, it will give you 4. She said, we learned to change a little bit. And her granddaughter one day said, Grandma, I love you. She didn't say anything. She said, Grandma, I love you. She didn't say anything. And the girl kept repeating it until she said, oh, I love you too. And then the girl walked away. That means there are changes, mechanisms that can help alleviate or improve this type of situation. That's what I was trying to get. And sorry if I made too many comments to stretch the time. I want to let other people ask questions as well.
So Barbara had her hand up.
Oh, hi. Sorry about that. Hi, Dave. I just want to thank Dave for his presentation and, his experience, strength, and hope. As a fellow Laguna Pueblo, it was really powerful for me to hear your story, and just want to emphasize the importance of the support from family. Reaching out, to your wife, and as someone that like all of us, that all of our, it's important. We can step outside and seek help or treatment or healing. But yet we enter back into that family and that community. And it's like that cog left, but it came back into the same machine, that moves in a certain way. And so I really do, promote promote families getting into recovery. I very much promote, Al-Anon or adult children of alcoholics, it's something that I've practiced myself. But I just want to say thank you for, that inspiring story, Dave. I appreciate it. And just wanted to invite him. I work for another technical assistance, and we're doing a veterans digital storytelling series. We did one in November with some Native veterans, and we're doing another one in January. And if Dave or anyone, Native veteran, would like to participate and wants more information, I'd like to get it out to you. And it's online. It can be done online. It's done remotely. We want to honor the COVID, and and so we have it's different than when we do it in person, but it has been very successful. And we got 4 veterans digital stories in November that were really powerful. And so thank you, Dave. And I hope maybe you might be interested, or anyone else too.
Yeah. I'll send. I see your email, so I'll shoot you an email.
Thank you.
Okay.
Barbara, I see that Ramona also put in chat her interest in participating, so maybe you can reach out to Ramona also. Okay.
Okay, I'll just put my my email in the chat to everyone, so if anyone else is interested, I can send them information and the dates. No cost to participate. Just in case anyone's wondering right now.
Okay.
I put up some contact emails too for our partner, Sean Bear, and of course, Ray and David. David, is that still the updated email for you?
Yeah.
One I've been using. Okay.
Yeah, that's good.
Well, I know we are at the top of the hour, and I want to respect everyone's time and other schedules. I certainly want to thank Dave for sharing, and for others that have commented. And it's really good to see Ray on the call along with the rest of you, and appreciate Barbara's comments as well as comments. So I think we will conclude today's broadcast. We want to finish in the right way. So Dave, do you want to take us out, or
Ray's gonna?
Oh, Ray's got it. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Well, before we conclude, let me, the title, what we do here is talk about veteran resilience, how we proceed in life. And Dave's story is really good, really grounding for many of us. So thank you. Yeah, Chicas, my brother. I'll do the prayer in Navajo. Kudo hojon has sanshimashitra yadalhil. Digendinat on the clinic kudo. Zetlestan twista hayol culture has healy. Digendinat qui yeldan long quite. Nika wait he yaj long quite yelnasna. Dos Chicas and Londo and Yelnasna, do Jado. Adlaya has Zidon, Benantian Linis Lin. Ebenantian Selini Linge Kudo, Kitsikis, Bedanit Edolis, Donki Jada Bedanit Edolis, the Yentin, Kudo Nasco, Yatio, Nasco Nani, Catolis, Janta has in the Kudo. Kidanit Edos Data Heliano, the Gastrini, Betani Nani, Donki Gada Lini, Danit Londo, the Sonders, Niquido, Hidoqui, Hinne Kaidan Zado, Dan Zado, that in the Kudo. Pai kudo yatio nani kato letigen keho hojo keho kudo tigen. Kudo hojo nasli. I ask for in Navajo we acknowledge the deities. We have holy people, and all of you are children of God and the Creator and the holy people. And Dave also is a child of holy people, as we are. We ask for blessings of the teachings he's given us and the words he's offered us. Because they've been, in our way, teachings are sacred, they're special, and they become part of who we are from here on out. So Dave's words is now part of us. And he is part of us through his teachings and of his experiences and his sharing. And because his words are part of us now, then in the prayer, I acknowledge that they become part of our heart too. And so Dave's words are now in our hearts, and we can move forward as we take care of our families, our children, our husbands, our wives, our brothers and sisters, and each other. And we move forward this way from what he's given us today, and to carry us through these difficult times, and to be well, and to be safe, and to take care of ourselves thoroughly, the best way we can. All of you are special to us. And we offer these songs and prayers for you to sustain you, sustain me, sustain each other. You have our contact information. If you ever want to get a hold of one of us for a chat or anything, we're here for that. So I want to mention that. And all of you take care and travel in good health and in beauty. Yeah. Go ahead, Steve.
So again, we'll see you all. We'll broadcast again this event on January 15th. And until then, stay connected, stay safe, and stay healthy. And we will see you again. Reach out to us if you need anything. And we'll see you on the 15th of January.
Yeah.
Okay,
Go on that. Oh, she gets. Take care of yourself.